What industry secret do you know that most people don't? Most probably 80% or more of the books on the non-fiction bestseller list, autobiographies, memoirs, political/business books, etc., are ghostwritten. Source: am ghostwriter. Secondary teaching. If teachers did absolutely everything in their job description perfectly, they would never sleep, eat or socialize. Planning great lessons requires hours that simply don't exist in our day. Consequently, majority of teachers walk into lessons having done no dedicated planning. We just wing it with our years of experience and resources we purchased online. 2 minutes before the lesson, the students never notice, I think partly because this happens so frequently it seems normal. Most teachers I know aren't satisfied with what they're doing in the classroom, but don't have the time or resources to do better. The good teachers that do put in the additional planning are usually sacrificing significant portions of their personal time and money to delivering great education. This generally results in the best teachers getting burned out and leaving the profession or having significant issues in their personal life, e.g. divorce, no social or romantic life. I'm an unarmed security guard. Every now then they'll get a comment from someone about how they're glad I'm around in case there's an active shooter or something. Yay, if that happens, we're not doing anything aside from getting ourselves to safety and calling the cops. We're literally told in training that if we try to intervene directly with an active shooter we'll be fired. Audio engineer here. One can play guitar, bass and drums very well. A lot of the time, I say I'll clean a person's part up with editing, but secretly I just learn and redo their part myself when they leave. It's way easier than digitally cleaning up a sloppy performance. I've been doing this for 10+ years and nobody has ever complained. Not even once. Worked at a newspaper processing obituaries, and it was crazy how much funeral homes tried to rip people off. Obits are expensive. Like, $400 for a single day expensive. And they are priced by the word. We had funeral homes who would send us obits with all the commas and periods separated to make full new words. The homes would get the estimate from our website and use that for billing the grieving family. We would edit the obit to meet English standards, which would reduce the word count substantially, dropping the price. In other words, they charged for the estimate but got billed for the edit. It got so bad management told us we were not allowed to talk about prices with family members, even if they came in and showed us the bill from the funeral home. The customer was the home, not the family, so they weren't privileged to see the pricing. If you have to put an obituary in the local newspaper, please contact them directly for pricing guidelines. There's usually cheaper options the funeral homes won't tell you about. Your lobster tail at Outback is microwaved. Old Liston Film replied, this one hurts me. Cannabis has side effects including respiratory infections, digestive disorders, cardiovascular problems, worst I've seen is a stroke. The industry is knowingly not working within health and safety standards in order to keep their profits elevated under the disguise of preventing the legal marijuana movement from being derailed. Literally nothing but money is preventing us from curing multiple diseases, many skin conditions, neurological disorders, treatments for hundreds of ailments and side effects. Now for a more controversial comment receiving 42 downvotes. Nothing's truly fresh at the supermarkets, they are relabeling expired frozen food with new dates. No way, not this. Again replied, that's hugely illegal. Karatzinus26 answered, yup, that's why I'm no longer there. Wow guys, I'm not sure I can ever go to a supermarket again. Please leave a comment if you agree.
Working as its support. I Google search most symptoms to find a cause and solution. Working in retail. Newer longer lasting stock is rotated at the back of the shelving. Working as pharma production tech. The food coloring for your medication comes from dead beetles. Working in food catering. Vanilla essence comes from the castor sac, not bumhole, but next to the bumhole of a beaver. I used to really like vanilla, now I stay clear. If you come to the emergency room and we think you're faking a stroke causing arm weakness, we raise up your arm and try to drop it on your face. It's known as the drop arm test. We also do the hover test if we think you're pretending to not be able to move your legs and are trying to purposefully push your leg down to the stretcher. User H-Sueu Fuchish 1132 was triggered by this and responded. So many POS healthcare workers. It's wild how many of you assume people are faking it given how ridiculous expensive the bill is and how much of you are addicts stealing and doing drugs on the clock. I work as a programmer in California. I got the job through inside contacts. What outsiders don't know is that all U.S. programming jobs are just fronts. They hire us to make it look like they are supporting U.S. economy, but we are only there as actors to fool the auditors. All the real programming is done by a secret group in India. For every one of us, programmers, in the USA, there are 10 of those guys. They are paid $1 an hour. 1 AM paid $50 an hour. just so I can afford rent here, and clothes and car to make it look like the IT economy in the US is healthy. One wish I could actually program in something more complicated than Scratch.
Lawyers. If you are a pain in the ass client, your file goes on the bottom of the pile. If you are not a client that brings consistent money in, your file goes on the bottom of the pile. Called too much? Your file goes on the bottom of the pile. Complaining? Bottom of the pile. Nasty to secretary or staff? Bottom of the pile. And so it goes.